Hi, this is Denise Mathew, and today I'm going to do another set of earrings on the Oscar theme and sort of like a bling kind of dangle earring. So what I've done is I've used a couple of briolets and made a wire frame, added some chain, and added some little charms of some rondelles. You could use any type of briolets you wanted to. You could even use round beads if you prefer, marquee cut, whatever you prefer. I've done the frame here. If you want to shorten that, you can do that as well. It's really your choice. You can make the chain a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. The way the earrings are now, they're about 3 inches from top to bottom, but you could make them a lot shorter according to the changes you make. You could use all the same colors, or like I did, you can do different colors. So let's get started. I'm going to work off the spool. So you can just use round nose pliers, but I'm using my multi-level pliers. So I'm just going to do a loop. Now I'm going to want to match it to the earring I've already made, so I'm just going to look at it and see. And so it's about 3/4 of an inch between the loop and the circle in the center. So now I'm going to go, I can measure it if I want, so 3/4 of an inch, and then go in the center. I'm going to do a little right around. So this is what I would have. So now I'm just going to double check that against the other one. Yeah, it's okay. So now just go to the other side and try and do an equal amount and just do a little loop on the other side. So you'd have something like this. Now all you need to do is just trim back the wire, and then you would have your frame. You could hammer this if you wanted to, or you could just leave it as it is. I'm just going to leave it as it is. I've already cut a length of chain. It's about 1.5 inches, but you could use a longer amount of chain if you want. So I just want to get to the center of this chain, find the middle link, so that you have equal amounts of. Now you can count the links if you want to make sure it's perfect, but I find that if you just check the center, it will show you quite easily if there's one that has a longer length, which this one has a longer length. One link extra, so I'm just going to cut that off. Because you can measure it, but it's not always going to be exactly equal, so that's why I like to just take the middle link. And then when I do that, I can see that they're both exactly the same length. So now that that's done, I have a 24 gauge wire, so I'm just going to do a wrap loop on one side, and I'm going to attach that wrap loop right to that center loop of the chain. So that's what I would have, and then just close that loop up. That's what you would have, and then after that you're just going to string on these are 4mm amethyst rondelles, so just string whatever kind of a bead you're using. It could be a round crystal, gemstone, whatever you have it will work. And then after that I'm just going to do another wrap loop, so just a 90-degree angle right around the pliers, and then grab hold of the loop and then just wrap it in and then trim it back. Now this will be where you're going to attach your earring to your ear wire. You don't have to do that right now. You can just continue working on the earring. So now I have the frame, and so now I'm going to attach the chain to the frame. So just open those loops. And attach one loop. It doesn't matter which side. Close it up. And then the other side. Do the exact same thing. Open the loop and attach the chain. Close it up. And then you would have your frame attached to your chain. Now I'm just going to start adding the briolets. I have a cubic zirconia here, and then I have 2 chalcedonsi. And then I have some, I'm going to do a few rondelle charms. So just do a regular wrap briolet right through. Bring one side of your wire up, and this is a 24 gauge wire, but just use a wire to fit your bead. You could probably use between a 24 to 26, even a 22 if that's all you have. So just bring your 2 wires together like that. And then at the top of the shorter wire, you do a 90-degree angle, and it's going to be away from your bead because we're going to attach the bead so the bead is hanging front way. So if you put it sideways, it won't hang properly, so you have to do it that way, so it's back. Okay, and then just do a loop like that, and then just slide that right onto your frame. You don't have to use as much wire as I'm using. I just had cut a length so that I had it available. So I'm just going to start wrapping down, getting those 2 wires together. And then when I get down to the tip of the bead, I'm just going to start to wrap around the tip, grab hold of the tip. And I'm doing a fairly neat wrap, so I'm just going to continue to wrap down and then go down a little way, and then just bring the wire up and across, and then right to the top. Just do another wrap around the top, and then just trim it back. Make sure you tuck in any wires that are sticking out, so then you have something that looks like this. So now the next thing to do is to take one of your other briolets. So just slide your briolet on and do exactly the same type of thing. You're just going to do the same type of, and just try and keep your briolet wraps the same as your original earring that you've made, so that they're the same and they are the same. So that's what you do, and then just do a 90-degree angle and a loop, and then just slide that on to one of the other side loops like that. Grab hold of that loop and then just do a wrap those 2 wires together right down. And then right up to the top again, and just a couple wraps. Turn it back. So this is what you would have so far. And then you're just going to do the exact same thing with another briolet. Now you start to add the little, now I have these little ball head pins. If you wanted to, you could just do like a little bit of a loop on the end of a piece of wire, so you don't have to use a headpin, and then just slide a, I'll just make one, and just slide a bead or rondelle on the end of it so that you don't have to worry about a headpin. And then just do just a 90-degree angle and then a loop. And then just slide one of those on, one on each side of each briolet. So for the center, you just put one on one side, or slide it right through the loop. Like that, and then just close that loop. Trim it back, and then just do it on the other side. So just right on a head pin, 90-degree angle, and then just loop. Put that on the other side of your briolet. Wrap. And trim. So if you notice, we have one briolet on both sides, and then just do it on the next two. Alternately, you could just make the briolets ahead of time, the briolets and the charms ahead of time, and then just slide them on, like open those loops like you did with the chain, and just slide them on. If you prefer to do it that way, if you find it easier, you could do it that way as well. So now the last thing you do is just, you're going to open up an ear wire and just put your ear wire on. So just slide your ear wire on, and then close it up. And then that would be your completed earring. So this completes the tutorial. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye for now.